A 15-point deduction, financial difficulties, an ageing squad on a huge wage bill. Life isn't too easy as Juventus manager right now, and the club is going through a sticky period. But in today's video, we'll be rebuilding Juventus over the course of 5 seasons to take them back right to the very top of European football. Hello everyone, Jake here and welcome to the video. As mentioned today, we are going to be rebuilding none other than Juventus with the aim across 5 seasons through making only transfers to take them to the top of the Italian football pyramid and hopefully even push on for some European glory as well. They've won the Champions League twice, once in the 80s, once in the 90s, and were runners-up on a bunch of occasions, including in 2015 and 2017, so not all that long ago. And of course, they've dominated the Italian Serie A over recent years in particular. Since the 2000s, they have won a hell of a lot of trophies, a European Cup Winners' Cup, Europa League, Super Cups, Italian Cups, you name it, this club has won it. Before we do get started though and take a look at the situation at the club, I'd like to ask you guys to smash the like button for me. It will let YouTube know you enjoy the video and then share it out to as many people as possible, and hopefully the video will do great. Let me know in the comments down below which rebuild you'd like to see next, and if you enjoy this kind of content then feel free to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it if you would, as we keep pushing for that 20k mark. In terms of what the board want from us, they want us to sign young players basically under the age of 23, reach the knockouts of the UCL, but also avoid relegation from the Serie A. And you might think that sounds a bit stupid, but of course Juventus have been hit by that 15-point deduction this year, and it puts us in a real sticky position in season 1. We should be more than good enough to stay up, mind you, but whether we can actually compete for a European spot might be a bit of a long way off. Financially, there's £7 million in the overall balance, yet they've given us £15 million to spend, although we are over our wage budget, so we need to cut that down. There's not too much going on in terms of young talents in the development centre, and our training facilities and youth facilities are good, but the junior coaching youth recruitment leave a little bit to be desired. The staff situation is okay, but we'll work on it and make it a hell of a lot better over this save. But of course, the important thing, our squad, and Juventus' squad is a very old one. If I sort by age, obviously you have got some younger players. A lot of these players are on loan or will be leaving the club like Kulusevski, but if we highlight only the players that are here, you have a few people under the age of 25, but a big core of the squad is 28, 29 plus. And if we take a look at the wages in the squad, Vlahovic is rightly very well paid because he's one of our best players, but Alexandro, Chesney, Bonucci, all on 200 grand a week whilst being over the age of 31. Bonucci in particular being 35, Cuadrado on 155k at the age of 34. There's a lot of work to be done and we really need to lower the age of this squad. In terms of potential, we'll be keeping an eye on Fabio Moretti, who looks like a very promising young player. Nicola Ravella is out on loan as well, and Samuel Illing also looks like a pretty promising talent, the young English wide player, so hopefully we can incorporate some of them into our team. Tactically, we won't go anything too extreme. I just think a 4-3-3 will suit us quite nicely. We've got a lot of midfield talent, so we want to get the most out of them, and if we pick our best 11, it's Sandro, Bonucci, Bremer, Cuadrado and Chesney, with Locatelli, who's joining after his loan deal with us, Paul Pogba, Rabiot, Di Maria and Chiesa, with Vlahovic up front. But of course a lot of these players are currently injured, so there is definitely some work to be done with this side. A lot of these players are very old or maybe past their sell-by date. We mentioned the ones earlier, but even the likes of Di Maria, Paul Pogba maybe aren't as young as they used to be or as talented as they used to be. So we need to make sure we get this squad moving in the right direction. But for season 1, I don't think we'll do too many transfers. As always with these rebuilds, we'll be doing only the transfers and then simulating the season to see how we get on. So let's see, even with our limited budget, if we can make any changes to this side. The only sale we made was Danilo. Now I didn't want to hang on to him, 1 because he's getting fairly old, 2 he had some interest in him, but also in right back we had Cuadrado as the starter and Desciglio, however you pronounce it, apologies Juventus fans, even though I'm wearing a Juventus shirt, I cannot pronounce his name. He was our backup right back, and I just thought, you know what, even though Danilo's probably better than him, the fact that he has some interest in him, we could move him on, I thought it was worthwhile. Real Madrid came in, 13.75 million, we snatched our hands off and we took that money. We have Alexandro who's getting old and Luca Pellegrini who's out on loan, but we didn't really have another left back option, so we've decided to bring in Adrien Truffert from Rennes in the French divisions, pretty much the same money that we got from selling Danilo. Hopefully he'll grow with the club as we get better, and as Alexandro phases out, we can bring Truffert in. But left back definitely was an issue issue in our squad that we've now kind of patched. And if you take a look around the team, there isn't too many options in terms of the depth at the club. Midfield, we do seem to have a fair amount of players, but outside of that, we definitely need to increase the quality of our squad whilst also getting rid of a lot of that deadwood. But for season 1, that's all we're going to do transfers wise. We don't have too much in the budget, and I don't really want to spend it on worthless players. I want to make sure we get the right players for our team. So let's simulate the first year and see how we can do with that points deduction. And we've done okay. I mean, the board won't be happy on a European front, but as far as staying up in the Serie A goes, we definitely did our job, finishing on 56 points, add in our 15-point deduction, and we would be sitting on, if my maths is correct, 71 points, which would have found us in second place, third place should I say, behind Atalanta and Lazio, who won the league this year. We are sitting in 10th, but we'll take it with that points deduction. We just needed to make sure we got past this first year. And in terms of the Champions League, we nearly qualified for the knockouts, but instead, Sporting CP took that place and we found ourselves falling into the Europa League, where we were knocked out in the round of 16 by Freiburg, which isn't very impressive at all for a club of our stature. Knocked out in the semi-finals of the Italian Cup. Not a great first year, but the board are happy because we have managed to stay up, so they've forgiven us for that Champions League exit. Big man Dusan up front was our best performer of the season with 44 goals in 52 appearances in all competitions. Bremer also did well, as did Pogba and Cuadrado, but it wasn't really that impressive from everyone else. But now that we've got that first season out of the way, we can really get stuck in to this rebuild and hopefully sort this side out in the transfer market. We've got £20 million or so, and you also might notice here, I was forcing the assistant manager to play Dusan up top and also give Moretti as much game time as possible to try and develop him, and hopefully that will pay off in this rebuild later down the line. Let's see though who we can bring in the season 2 transfer window. Kulusevski has of course left the club. He has gone to join Tottenham. He had that clause in his loan deal to leave the club and he's gone for 30 million, and based on the way he's playing, we kind of wish we had him in our team. We managed to sell off Artur after a very disappointing loan out at Liverpool. He comes back and we've sold him to Leeds for 8.5 million. Can't really say I know who this guy is too much, but we've sold him. Radu Dragusin, I just didn't really see a place for him in the club. Genoa came in for him. He's been out on loan for a few years. They were willing to pay nearly 5 million, so we let him leave. Other notable names include Federico Gatti leaving to join Real Betis for 3.3 million. Daniel Rugani has gone to Rennes for a total price of 2.4 million. He was out on loan there a while ago and now he's back to France for a pretty nice fee. Di Maria has also left to join Roma for a total of 2.1 million pounds. I know he's still got a lot of quality in him, but he's old. He was taking up a lot of the wages, so we thought, let's move on, let's cut ties and bring someone else in. Our only other notable sale is a player whose name I'm going to struggle to pronounce yet again, Mattia Desciglio. He's gone to Sevilla for £1 million. Look, he's just not really the final product in our team, not necessarily sure we need him all that much, so we've let him go. Another player on high wages who we can forget about and invest in some younger talent who can keep growing with the team. And let's look at some of those players that we bought in. I really want to make sure we sign quality for the future in our team that can also help us right now, and one of those players was Thierry Randall Correa, who comes in now as our pretty much deputy right back option behind Cuadrado, who will play another season for us before his contract expires. I think he's a good player. He hasn't cost us too much at £12 million from Valencia, where he's played regularly and played decently well. He looks like he could be quite good going forward with that work rate and that pace. He's also not a bad crosser, passer or dribbler, so hopefully he can settle in nicely. A Portuguese under-21 capped international. He comes in expecting to be an important player, and I think over time we could phase Cuadrado out and make Correa here our starting right back. And with so many centre-backs leaving, we needed another one to join the club, and we've gone for Diogo Coppola, who plays for Verona in the Serie A and played 8 times last year at the very young age of 19. Now I'm going to ask the assistant to use him as often as possible. With Bonucci's contract expiring at the end of the year, we want an Italian sturdy centre-back who's going to be able to step up, and hopefully Coppola can be that man. 7.75 million, we're not going too expensive, but I think he could definitely fit in a Juventus shirt. At the end of this year, we've got Bonucci, Alexandro, Chesney and Cuadrado's contracts expiring. That adds up to near enough a total of about 500 grand a week, if not more. So that's going to be really good for us when we get rid of those guys. They're great players, but I think their time's kind of up in a Juventus shirt. If we try and sell them, it's going to upset the squad a lot. So I think for now, we'll keep the team as it is. And if we pick our best 11, I imagine it's not going to be too much different from year one. And I'm kind of right. It's pretty much all the same people. Pellegrini comes back this year and looks like he might be able to make a mark in the first team. Paredes is also in there, having been on loan loan from Juventus last season. He's automatically had this clause signed for 19.5 million. Not necessarily sure I'm a huge fan of him, but look, he's a decent quality player. He comes in, and this is the rest of our team. Hopefully now, without that points deduction, we can push on for a European place, but let's see how it goes. Our only focus now is the Italian League and the Cup. We're not in Europe, and maybe that will benefit us in Season 2. I was kind of right, kind of wrong. It did not benefit us in the Cup whatsoever. We got knocked out in the second round by Udinese. Very embarrassing. We're not looking like a very good Cup team right now, but in the Serie A, Atalanta have won it this year, and we have finished in third place in a Champions League spot, mind you, but 9 points off the title. But what's nice to see, I say nice to see, maybe not for a manager in a Juventus rebuild, but in the recent years you've had Juve win it, then Inter, then Milan, then Lazio, now Atalanta. I'm sure Napoli will be up there soon as well, and by the way, you might see they're called Parthenope, and also Roma are called whatever that is. That's because I have the name fix on, but in the winter update it's reset it, and I have not yet fixed it, but there you go, that is Roma, that's Napoli. You can probably tell by the badges, so it doesn't matter all that much, but it's been a better season for us this year. We're back in European football, and that's exactly what we needed. I would have liked to have maybe competed for the title a little better, but Atalanta only lost one game all year, and that was a game against second place Napoli. 11 draws, mind you, but we just were nowhere near them. 9 points clear, and they have topped the table rather comfortably. Another great year for Dusan up front, but it was our new signing Rendel Correa who really impressed at right back. PSG and Barcelona are interested in him. 14 assists from right back with a 7.52 average match rating. That is an incredible year, and he has done so well for us, so we're delighted to have him on board. Pogba also doing decent, as is Chiesa. A few more players performing at a good level here. You'll also see I tried to give as much game time as possible to Capola at centre-back, but it's not really working out for him just yet. He is developing, but not as much as we might want. At 20 years of age, is he ready for the first team in a Juventus shirt? Maybe as a squad player, as a starter, I'm not too sure yet, but we'll give him another few years, I'm sure. This team is looking nicer than it was before though, but now we have got some big names leaving. A lot of the wage bill is going to be cleared, and that will leave room for some big transfers. So let's get in to Season 3. If you are enjoying up to this point, smash the like button for me, and don't forget to subscribe if you like these kind of rebuilds. We do them pretty regularly, so if you enjoy this, I'm sure you'll enjoy the others. But let's get back to the transfers. The first player to leave was Leandro Paredes. I said I wasn't a massive fan. Manchester United were interested. We transfer listed him, and actually, because of a pretty decent year last year from him, we've came out with a slight profit, 22 million. He goes to Manchester United. He'll play well for them, I'm sure, but I just didn't want him anymore. We wanted to cut ties, and we reinvested that into the squad. Dennis Zakaria had interest from PSG, and we decided we were happy to let him go. He didn't play much for Chelsea on loan. He came back to us, was half decent, and then PSG come in for £24 million. It's hard to reject it. He wanted to go as well, and I thought, you know what? Let's let Zakaria go. We can reinvest, give opportunities to younger players, and let Zakaria have his fun out in Paris. And finally, Filip Kostic has gone to RB Leipzig. He goes back to Germany for £5 million. He was good for us whilst he was here, but I just wasn't really too sure about his long-term future. 31 years of age, another one who was on fairly high wages. We get some money for him, get him off the books, and we can reinvest that into our younger, more youthful squad. You'll notice Alexandro has gone to Fenerbahce on a free at the end of his contract, and Cuadrado has gone to Roma. Chesney and Bonucci's contracts are up, and they're pretty much going to be free agents on the market, and that was a lot of money off the wage bill, but also some key names and some key positions in the spine of our team that needed to be fixed. To replace Cuadrado as our backup right back behind Rendel Correa, we have signed Kevin Alvarez, a Mexican right back, 25 years of age with good ability all around. He joins from Pachuca out in Mexico, and he was one that our scouts brought back. I wasn't really aware of him, but he's been playing well. He looks like a very capable backup who's maybe not going to want to really challenge for that starter role all that much and get too annoyed if he's not playing. He's not a big name, he's not a big ego, but he can now be the perfect deputy to push Correa on and also help the team when needed. Chesney has left, and we needed a new goalkeeper, so we have gone for Lille's number one, Lucas Chevalier, who is 22 years of age but has been playing for Lille as their starting goalkeeper in the French league for a couple of years already, since pretty much his early 20s, and after a poor first year, he's had a better second season. Our scouts seem to see the potential in him. It was between him and some older goalkeepers, and I thought, you know what, let's trust the youth. We'll have Chevalier for years now, and hopefully he can settle in as our number one. A bit risky, but I feel like he could be the man for us. Our big signing was one of the stars of the Ghanaian national team, one of Ajax's best players, Mohamed Kudus, who joins from Ajax for £42 million after 2 very, very good seasons in the Eredivisie since this simulation has started. 42 million is a lot, but I think he definitely adds some quality. He adds depth in a bunch of positions as well. He's 23 years of age, can get better, and hopefully he can be one of the gems in this new Juventus side. I feel like he's a perfect fit for us. Very happy to have him. He gets to take the step up, and we hopefully get a star player to run our midfield. And our last transfer in was a new centre-back, with Bonucci leaving. It left Bremer and Capola as really our only 2 options in defence. There's a few squad depth kind of players, but we needed someone else to challenge for that starting spot, and Eric Garcia was transfer listed by Barca. Even though he hasn't played much, our scouts seem to think there was a lot of potential left in this man, and if I can't trust my scouts, I don't know who I can trust. So we've gone ahead and signed the 18-capped international centre-back, a brilliant ball-playing centre-back who's got years to get better, a lot of potential, and possibly our new leader with 14 leadership at 23, maybe a future captain in the making. And with those transfers done, we're ready to get into our 3rd season out of 5, and our best 11 currently, according to the game, is Perin, Correa, Garcia, Bremer, Pellegrini, Locatelli, Weston McKennie, Adrian Rabiot, Mohamed Kudus, Chiesa, and Dusan up top. But I think we'll be seeing a lot more from the younger players in these coming years. I mean, Moretti looks like he's developing into a real gem in the midfield, but he isn't the only one. Nicolo Ravella down here looks brilliant. He's had some interest in terms of transfers from Real Madrid. We've rejected the majority of it, but who knows if we'll be able to hang on to him for long enough. I think he could be a great player in our team, a brilliant passer who can also tackle well. He could be a great box-to-box or maybe a deep-line playmaker. I see a bright future for him. He was on loan in the 1st season. We used him in the 2nd season. Hopefully, he can be a key player as we go forward. But with that said, that's our Season 3 team ready. Let's see if we can finally win some silverware. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like we can. We've actually finished with less points than the year before, and we finished way, way off the league leaders, 21 points behind Milan, who have won the title. We lost 8 games and drew 8 games. Our goal difference is not bad, but we've only just scraped a UCL spot, 4 points ahead of Roma. Not great at all. I wanted to be winning trophies by now. The Italian Cup, we failed again in an early round. The Serie A, we are flopping a little bit. Even though the board are happy just to be in and around these European places, I want to be pushing for that title. The Champions League, though, I have no idea how we've done yet. Were we in the semi-finals? No. Were we in the quarter-finals, if I can click it? We were. Okay, we got to the quarterfinals of the Champions League and lost to Liverpool 3-1. Not the end of the world. It's a much better run than before. At least we're making the knockouts, and that will hopefully help financially, I would have thought. Yes, there we go. £74 million to spend and 500 grand in the wage budget. It's time for some real big signings, hopefully, but we've got to remember we want to get these transfers right, so I need to be careful with that. First of all, though, who performed well this year? Let's take a look. If we go by average match rating, Dusan yet again, 50 goals in 52 appearances. Our man on the wing, Chiesa, has been performing well across the whole of this simulation so far, so good job from him. Pogba still doing good for us, as is Bremer, McKennie, and everyone else is pretty much average. I'd like to see some better performances, particularly from Kudus. Maybe this isn't his ideal position. I know he can play in the midfield, but I just thought he could be a good inverted winger. But maybe not. Maybe it's time to rethink that in Season 4. So let's get some transfers underway, and fingers crossed we actually win a trophy. We're only here for 5 years. We've got to hope we can do something in this rebuild. I finally think we've added some huge quality to the squad. Players that are really going to elevate us to another level. But first we had to say goodbye to a player who's been here since the start. Adrian Rabiot has gone to Manchester United, £11 million. He's 30 years of age now, and he's a great player in FM terms, but I just thought it was time to part ways. He wanted to go when Man U came in, and we decided just to let him move on and make some new signings of our own. But other than that, there wasn't really any major transfers out. Coming in though, firstly we have Spanish midfielder Alex Collado, who's versatile as anything, can play in a bunch of positions and do them all very well. He's coming off some great seasons for Osasuna out in the Spanish divisions. This year in the first division he's done great, and we just thought, you know what, let's go for him. He had a release clause of 16 million. The scouts loved him. He looks like he could be a good fit for our formation, for our team, and hopefully Alex Collado can be that technical whiz that we needed in our midfield. Some depth to help out on the wings. We've gone for Julian Duranville. He comes in from Borussia Dortmund, where he was a bit part player for them. He's only 19 here, and we're about 4 years into this save, so to pick him up I think is a good deal. He's a wonder kid, someone who can get a lot better for us, very pacey, very direct, hopefully can run past his man and then get the balls into the box for big man Dusan up top. But whether this will work out, I'm not sure. He should though be a good backup to Chiesa and won't be too annoyed if he doesn't get that much game time. He's still young, he's not going to expect to be a star, but maybe in time he could become one. But I think the biggest signing we've made in this whole save so far, the one that I think will take this club to another level, is Giorgio Scalvini from Atalanta, who, remember, won the league with this guy at centre-back when he was only, 17, 18 in this save? Now he's 21, he's really came into his own, and we've picked him up for a release clause of £64 million. We've stolen him off a rival. He's a great centre-back and comes in as better than Bremer, Garcia, Coppola, any of them. He's coming in as such a good talent. 0 cons in his report. He seems to be the perfect centre-back, the perfect replacement for Bonucci, for Chiellini, Barzagli, the old centre-back greats that Juventus had in that 2000s period where they were winning everything. Now Scalvini comes in and hopefully he can lead this club to glory. Maybe not as much of a leader, but at 21 there's time for that to change. Already 16 caps at 21 years of age. What a player he is. And now if we look at our best 11, I feel like it's going to be shaping up a lot better now. It is going to be Chevalier in goal, a young goalkeeper. Eric Garcia at right back, I'm not sure that's where I'd play him, but still a young right back. Scalvini, Bremer as an older player, Pellegrini as a more senior player, as well as Locatelli. But now Ravella and Moretti both get into our starting 11, as do Chiesa, Kudus and Vlahovic there. So we have definitely lowered the age of this team, and if we have a look at the general wage structure as well, even though we still have Vlahovic on a high contract, the overall structure of this club is in a much better position now. We're not stacked with players who aren't here. We've got players that want to be here, that can grow into a better team, and if we sort by general info and sort by age, you can see there are a few older players, but the majority now are 26 and under, and a lot of them are key first team players. So in season 4, hopefully this young side that we've put together can finally actually do something, at least compete for a title and get close. But let's see, maybe we'll win the Champions League, I don't know. Let's see what goes on in season 4. And finally, we've done it. In season 4, we've got ourselves back to the top of the Italian football pyramid. If I'm being honest with you, this took far longer than I thought it would. I thought it would be a lot easier job, but it was not. But we have won the title, 5 games lost, 6 draws, 60 goal difference, way more than anyone else, 5 points clear at the top of the league. Juventus are champions. In the Champions League, we were knocked out in the round of 16 by FC Barcelona, and then the quarterfinals of the Italian Cup, we've got nowhere near winning that yet. We lost to Napoli, but this was a much better year from us. It looks like we've been a much better team this season, and we're also getting to the knockout stages of the Champions League yet again, which is good. I'd like to go a bit deeper in that, maybe pick up an Italian Cup, but if we can win the league again next year, I would say that's been a successful 5-year rebuild, particularly when you consider we've lowered the age of the squad, and hopefully this team can keep getting better year on year. But let's have a look who did perform. Did any of our new signings actually come in clutch for us? Dusan, man, this guy just keeps scoring. 54 goals in 49 appearances. We had McKennie still doing well at the club. Chiesa, Bremer, Locatelli. Scalvini's done okay, maybe not as exceptional as we thought he might do, but there's a much better spread of performers in the team now. Lots of good players who are helping us out. It's been a new era for Juventus. A new young side has won them the Scudetto. A new set of legends at the club. But we've still got one more season to hopefully pick up some more trophies. So let's tweak the squad a little bit, bring some players in, get rid of some, and see what we end up with. Here we are, time for season 5's transfers. You might see we're about halfway through the season. I forgot to actually pause to tell you guys who I've signed, so I'll quickly cover it now. But just to let you know, we're not doing too bad. It looks like we've qualified for the knockouts of the Champions League in our last season. We won the Italian Super Cup, which is great, but the Italian Cup we're still in right now, and we're potentially in for a title challenge still in the Serie A. We are close behind Napoli, but yeah, this season is all to play for. Let me show you who we sold first. So Luca Pellegrini has moved on to AC Milan, £7.5 million for him. Looks like he's done well for them so far, but we've signed a much better player in my opinion. And the other notable sale was Paul Pogba going to Bayern Munich. He played pretty much all of his games games off the bench last year and wasn't playing that great anymore. You can see 19 appearances off the bench, 1 start. So we let him go. Bayern came in for him. It looks like they've been using him in their B team. I don't really know why they've gone for him, but he's now in their first team apparently, getting a 7.5 average match rating, doing well for them. We take 14 million for a 33-year-old for sure. And of course, we've reinvested that money into some younger stars. It was 2 first-team players that we signed. The first one being Lazar Samardzic. He was playing for Udinese and doing quite well. The scouts seemed to really rate him, so he bought him in for some extra depth, 23 million. He's still quite young and has got years to get better yet. 14 appearances so far this season, doing fine, nothing exceptional. But he's got loads of years to get better. He offers us some more technical talent going forward, and I feel like he could be a good player for us. But our big money signing of the summer, I've gone for another young Italian to really take our team to the next level. He's 24 years of age now, but it is Destiny Udogie, who hopefully sets up that left back position for the next 10 years or so for this side. He's got 32 appearances for the Italian national team, comes in having played very well for Tottenham in the Premier League. He wanted to leave. We offered him a chance to come to Italy. He took up the chance and it looks like he's doing great with 6 assists in 18 games so far, 7.11 average match rating, a great left back. We have paid £52 million for him, but our squad is now much better than it was before. We are halfway through the season, remember, but apparently our best 11, if everyone was fit, is going to finish on this. Chevalier in goal, Correa at right back with Scalvini and Bremer as our defenders, with Udogie at left back, Locatelli, Ravella, Moretti, Kudus, Chiesa, and also big man Dusan leading the line up top. We've got a great squad here, a lot of good young players. Let's see if I simulate the rest of the year, if we can actually do something in Season 5. It looks like we might be in for a few trophies. Who knows how many we'll win? Maybe we'll win them all. Let's simulate and see how we get on. And it's definitely been a bit of a mixed bag, but we are going to take it. You'll see we were runners-up in the Italian Cup. Ouch. We finished in 3rd place in the league. Ouch, another trophy we've missed out on, but all can be forgiven. The Juventus fans, the Juventus board, they're going to absolutely love us because we have won the Champions League, beating Manchester City 2-1. Let's take a look at what we did. So in the semi-finals, we beat Atletico Madrid 3-2 on aggregate. Seemed like a pretty favourable draw actually. We missed out on City and Real. Quarterfinals, we knocked out Chelsea in a 4-2 aggregate win. Round of 16, we beat Liverpool 7-4 on aggregate. That was like a proper tie and a half. It looks like the majority of our new signings helped out in that game against Manchester City. Only Bremer was here before. Ravella, of course, out on loan. McKennie, Moretti, Chiesa and Vlahovic. So 6 first-team players from the current Juventus squad. The rest were all bought in by us. I think we've done a great job this year. It was a bit of a mixed bag towards the end of the season. We just missed out on the Italian Cup. Looks like we might have threw away the league in the hopes of winning the Champions League and focusing on that instead. But we have done awesome to win that trophy, to finally get that Champions League back to Juventus in the 21st century. We've done great. I think this rebuild, as much as I would have loved to have won more trophies, I think it's gone well overall. We've lowered the wage bill, dealt with financial difficulties, bought in a new squad, won some trophies, and financially, by the way, £250 million in the balance. 125 million would have been our transfer budget for next year. And in the debts and loans, nada. Absolutely nothing. We've absolutely smashed it here. We've sorted Juventus out. They're ready for the next years ahead, and that is our rebuild complete. If you have enjoyed it, smash the like button for us, subscribe for more like this, comment down below who you'd like to see rebuilt next, but most of all, have a great day, everybody. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.